resisted the movement, and they were involved with the Creek Wars and things like that. And being traditional, they didn't observe religion the same way that a lot of us do now. Back then, there was no Baptist, Methodist, all of that Christianity. It was all traditional religion, all of it, except for the few that were removed early, and those up around Tulsa and that way. The people that came earlier, they were more Christianized, westernized, and so they might have had that, but our people down south, we weren't like that. And so after our people was removed here, we were taught the Christianity. We were assigned Methodist missionaries, Baptist missionaries, Presbyterian missionaries, and the white man calls it proselytize. In other words, change your religion for you. That our people went through that era. So, but many of our people chose that Christianity, and that's good. That's good. If that's what their heart has on their heart, that's fine. And many of them became Christians, and many of our family members, as you all know. I'm sitting here looking at Mrs. Bear, her family. There's so many of them were ministers. And my grandfather was a minister, but he started out as a traditional. First half of his life, he was a traditional. He was a speaker, medicine man, and very involved with Alabama ceremonial ground. And as a matter of fact, he still had his traditional beliefs, even though he was a minister, a Baptist minister. There are some things that were ingrained in him that was traditional, and one of those was that he was a medicine man. Many of you might have remembered his name was Daniel Beaver. He still believed in the healing power of native medicine, as much as so many people believe in a hospital and a doctor. And so I see he treated many people, and so anyway, that never did go away from him. And he told me a story one time that I asked him. I said, Grandpa, I said, I got a lot of conflict. I got a lot of conflict in my beliefs. And I said, I was raised, y'all raised me, and I was raised in the church. And I said, and I believe what I've been taught. And I believe about salvation and all that. But I said, what about my relatives that don't do that? What about my relatives that go to church, ceremonial ground? What about my relatives that take medicine and they observe their religion in a different way? He said, I'm glad you asked me, and I'm glad that your maturity level is getting to the point that you're starting to wonder, and that you're starting to have concern for your brothers. And because some of my own first cousins, ceremonial people, I want to back up just a minute and say something. I don't know how many of you knew my grandpa, but he was a pastor at Sand Creek Indian Baptist Church. Occasionally, and I've seen him do it 3 times, he came before the church in the summertime, and he would tell the church, he said, y'all know me, y'all know my beliefs, and y'all know my understanding of what my beliefs are. He said, and I believe I still believe in many traditional ways that I don't think they're wrong. I don't think, God goes against those beliefs, because I believe that the same God that you worship is the same God that my brothers at the ceremonial ground worship. So, he said, I also believe in the healing power of medicine, Indian medicine. He said, and I believe that there's a time for cleansing, and it was green corn time. He said, and now is that time. And he said, my soul and my spirit tells me to go back and take that cleansing. So I'm going to ask you for your permission as a church to release me for a week. And he said, I want to go back and take my medicine. And they used to do that. 3 times they did that. I went with him. We went to Alabama Ceremonial Ground. He took medicine. Matter of fact, he made some after for them. Another time we went to New Tulsa, and he took medicine over there. And the 3rd time, I don't remember exactly where it was, but I was real small. And he took medicine, but then after he did his week taking medicine, he'd go back to the church, and he'd go back, he'd say, okay, I'm ready to come back in. And they had replaced him for that week with the assistant pastor, but they'd turn the chair back over to him. You know, Indians, we used to, when I was little, I remember many people, they believed that way. They believed both ways. But you know, these days, I hear people talking against each other, both ways. I hear people in the church talking against ceremonial people and their beliefs. And what my grandpa told me about that was, he said, if you believe that the ceremonial people are not right and they're not righteous, he said, you're saying that God turned his back on them for 100,000 years, and that didn't happen. He said, God provided for them, so you can't say that and believe that. He shaped my beliefs in a lot of ways because of that. I know even now you hear some people talk about each other. We're all brothers and sisters. We're first cousins. We're aunts and uncles. You know, our people don't need that. We don't need to be that way with each other. Yeah, I need to let you believe what you want to believe, and you let me believe what I want to believe, and let's move on, because that's what love is all about. Love is about acceptance of whatever it is you are, whatever way you are. That's okay with me, because I can't judge you. I can't judge you, and you can't judge me. That's one of the greatest lessons I ever learned from my grandfather. There was a few people that didn't believe the way he did, and they would talk about him and how he was wrong and this and that. But I never doubted 1 minute in his belief that God provided things for all of us. Medicine, prayer, Bibles, fasting. So I guess I need to go back over that and translate that as she said. Moment. Chachut koro, chabuza chabuzit, injoguragin, abagaget, chaskin, ubidagin, abawa hoktagi hokul, hoktaguzi hokulet, chawandagin. Pobushalgin mabugi non, moment ebuzalagat no maria. Pobuzat, pobusit, nagin magag no at mabuezit, takabugi. Moment mo vimogid no maria. Chabuzat. Ilkinagalumen. Istuvers mares watun uisko emresen. Azazuli bat thagi tayarungat. Saza ubutlinat. Munguru arin ufonov. Maniturovan. Moment hilish chilayat. Zolakwalat huaridon hilish wanash hayat. Moment idaway mubunayadon. We ladidomen. Kisadin. Muad uizezi moment hilishagar no mari wegi go mungit wegi ilkhinagar no istersi hilishayat on imomizezi hilis wastin hayat moment istin okhugat moment imalik set muagar hizemarin moment azazuliban moment isti nagi magagi bohat moment chali husazagonos kazet Sabuza munayan ma hayu magiskat. Hubo singat sin hiskat uizazin. Chimagiltas kat sin hautus. izizulitor, muy hayue magiskat, hiltor, kilterziastuis, hayuin zemunayander. Moment, pomistir novare, hufonov, ufangarigos in giltin, hiliswarigos in giltin, moment ilowiskat, narmoas, hilis chilago wagan, marigos in kilsagin oagadiruis, moment hayue hisagidamishi gezi agas hamiat, ibu fangat, magagin man maradundur, puhayadin, ipuhayadidomen, ibu hizeze, ibu nugize, undon, mad onga, ma magiskat kilterazias tuido, hilito hiltos, izizulibanois, hayuidonor magen, ma iste, moment chocolako folle, china hamge, moment hilisudes, silai folla, nagini makasam gadonavat, mari makasam gadondor. Hayue, migo sapkazoko follario, mari makasam gadonavat, mari makasam gadwak tuidonor. Chi makasam gayo, hai hanskat, ondor. Nagidono istes, nagit. Chifigen of what is not, but a tide is it. She don't fatsi the over it. Tisari mud. Tibais as you don't know. Magis moin, im nak hamo eating as a hat. More sani go to it. Ibo pangarat. Nak muatin, pungongo to it. Unga. Hayue, magiskat. Kisidat, imazulgat. Moment wisdom tiret kita magiduir machin hichkan uizajin nak hamu agin kisren siazi agit tuis honga agesazis kinwan moment hayo china hamge chokolakko folen folat no mare taigoros magich kinwan ufatsi zagich kinwan Ishakiramishi hofuni abagagin. Ha heziri mau maira boin. Po ha heziri hongat migusavoge. Po ha heziri duis magaga rira bosin. Moment mau ha hezagari duis. Moment chuga sakures uzegi gurun nunga. Kisakigos kuwa continue station. Ishakiramishi imahagar nomade. Iashkira, Anugiska, Kanzapka, Marutsina, Hofone Pomistida, Imagipuedirano. Magista Sagazin, Onga Nagiti Malaki Gurundor, Onga Ido Fatsis it Fole Poiskina, Abagigo, Nagin Magiwood, Uidadunor, China Hangi, Mausa Tesuis, Maruagis, Onga, Hisagira Mazet, Ma Agasamgan. Moment, hofonof, moment. Eishi budur butarirunga. Nagin, fatsi doa talgostuirunno. Onga, moi magit fuhona abagi guracher. Magit amahayen. Salza ubutlini bar hunga amazolga ulechi bayat. Moi amahaho imanat. Mana magosam gadois hayuan. Onga istizari adigat moment moide soya de kon agil sezayat nagin usil nagin agil sezkin onga nagin chimagil sezkerumen nagin chimagasham kadonu istes. It's all right. Ugida dozin chin ma pohayri ebo fanga hijagram jigezyan chinni bahujen. Tirishuga naxtiruna. Anirogo, Chimi dogo. Onga istira dogo, Chimi arigos. Onga masaligin agistese. Moment hayuin obnakana no mare agozona zando no istesen. Chimwega gali square and naklit tang malakuzin agistesto herzen. Hara ugidet usnoat. Nago nagozi mao gaje moin unai high school and Chibil easy abilgan abil who action buhay ko nagit among islaska ira dan hakidon maga alis ko rin man makto iron no gira hayo ang balaksa madozi gazakan hayosin lispuero Madog